sound speeds, and I have a special feature for you. But first, a little bit of backstory. Back on February 4th, 2018, Bandrew over at geeksrising.com in his Bandrew Says Podcast number 105 gave me a shout out.
I finally picked up a shock mount, the Rycote USM Universal Shock Mount, which I heard about on a YouTube channel called Sound Speeds. And a quick side note, if you are not subscribed to Sound Speeds on YouTube, what are you doing with your life? So let me explain why I think you should be subbed to this guy. So I am just a hobbyist. I'm just a dope who works in a day job. And I talk about microphones because I like it. Sound Speeds is a professional. He works in the movie industry. He works in the television industry. He's been working in this industry for quite some time. And he's making really high quality videos, sharing that expertise with you for free. If you would have to pay for this at a school if you want this level of information, and he's giving it to you for free.
One of the many people that saw this podcast was a man named Titus who operates a YouTube channel called The Search for Awesome. And he decided to reach out to me because he's thinking about reviewing some audio products on his channel and thought he might want a professional opinion. So we started talking, and that's where some kind of fun things started happening. We went back and forth via email for a while to see what kind of ideas we could churn up and ways of tying our two YouTube channels together for this collaboration. Actually, that's a pretty good point for me to pause and roll the tape.
I built this computer about 2 or 3 years ago, and this is actually the computer I started the Search for Awesome with. I use it to edit with Adobe Premiere. I really hate Adobe Premiere. I found it really wasn't for me, and so I had to keep looking for other options. And believe it or not, I switched to the 2014 MacBook Air. I already had it, and I downloaded the free trial of Final Cut, and I ended up finding that I liked Final Cut better, but it was a 4-year-old computer, so it could only last for so long, so then it was time to make another change. Then about a month ago, I switched to the 2016 MacBook Pro with Touch Bar, and I love this computer. It's really great, no real complaints. Battery life could be better. So why am I telling you all this? Well, sometimes the tools at hand hold you back from what you are trying to do. So it's time to move up. And I have a new YouTube friend named Alan, and he's hitting a wall with his current editing PC. And that's where I get the honor of coming in. And by the way, I know how the story ends, and I could not believe what I was able to get him within his budget. This is how to buy a PC on the cheap in 2018. So Alan, we've been talking for about a week or so, and as we've been talking, I learned that there might be something that I might be able to help you with. Could you tell me a little more about that?
I want to actually upgrade and get a better nonlinear editing system. I used to have one back in the day before things went 1080p.
So Alan bought his current computer several years ago for gaming, but currently it's holding him back, and it's time for something new. But his budget is a bit limited.
I think you were telling me before your budget was somewhere in the ballpark of $700, is that right?
At this time, yes. And the reason I don't want to necessarily go crazy and over the top, because I'm about to launch a new series and I'm going to be spending a lot of money on that.
The good news, though, is he's actually not interested in editing in 4K just yet. 1080p is just fine.
So yeah, I definitely think it is doable. I do have just one last question for you, and you can be honest. Are you nervous?
A few months ago, I upgraded Mr. Red and the sound system that he uses on his YouTube channel and his videos. And after the fact, I asked him, why did you decide to trust me on this? And he said, it's because you exuded confidence and expertise. And I guess you could say Titus has done the same thing in me.
Well, I think that's basically it. I will get to work, and you'll hear from me in maybe about a week or two, which is quite a bite into the budget. But then even like a decent graphics card, like this is an RX 570, even those start in the low to mid 300s. And then you throw in a copy of Windows for $100, and there's just not much room in the budget left after all that. After looking at some of the pre-built machine options, I mean, there were some okay options, but they were at the top of my price range for something decent, and it didn't even have an SSD, which I think is kind of a must these days.
I exhausted any bridge of buying Alan a great new PC. At that price point, it just doesn't exist. So it was time to search used options.
What's great about buying used is that's kind of where the deals are these days. You watch Luke and Linus where they're facing off in Scrapyard Wars trying to build the best PC under a certain budget, and they aren't making an appointment at Apple waiting to buy the newest iMac. No, they're going to Craigslist and eBay, and because that's where the savings are.
And that's where the search finally led me, eBay. After searching through some okay options, I think I might have found it. Somebody had a complete PC listed for a buy it now of $650. But then I saw that no one had bid on it yet, and the current bid was just at $500, and the auction was ending in just a few minutes.
I waited until the last 30 seconds, and then I sent a bid in, and I just sniped it. It was perfect, too. I mean, it had a cool case. It even had an SSD. It had everything that Alan needed. I mean, even if Alan doesn't want it, I kind of want it. So Alan runs a channel called Sound Speeds, and if you don't know this about Alan, he is actually like a Hollywood professional sound guy. He's one of those boom sound guys that holds the mic in front of the actors, and he's just worked on some amazing stuff. I actually didn't realize some of the amazing stuff until we started talking. He's worked on amazing projects like Stranger Things, the second season. He's worked on Avengers. He's worked on even Walking Dead, one of my favorite shows. So when I was talking to him, I was like, can we just be friends? Would that be cool? Like, sound is something that's so important to YouTube, and I know that there's so much I could learn from him. And what was really cool, though, is in talking to him, I realized not only do we both live in Georgia, he lives 30 minutes down the road.
Yeah, it's funny he lives right around the corner from me. When we talked about doing the collaboration, it still didn't come up. And when he gave me his phone number, it was a local area code. And I said, wait a minute, are you local to me? And he told me his city. And I said, you're the next town over. Are you kidding me?
Let's go meet Alan. Shall we?
How's it going, man?
Hey, Alan. It's so good to meet you.
Good to meet you in person, finally.
Yes, finally, man.
Why don't you come on in?
Hey, cool. This is the palace, huh?
This is it.
Oh, I see another cat over
yeah,
there.
that's Khaleesi over there. Daenerys, I think, is the puppy one that just ran by here.
Oh, man.
So thanks for coming out here on a Friday.
So we got the computer in the car.
Okay.
Well, let's check out what you're dealing with right now.
Oh, man. How much time do you have? This thing is so slow. Yeah, come on in. Check it out. My main computer right there, which is an i3 Alienware Alpha. I got that back in the day when I was just doing gaming.
Yes.
And the only game I was doing two games. Minecraft because my daughters were interested in it, and World of Warcraft because I got into it, like a few years ago. And I didn't need a really powerful machine, so why bother overkilling it?
Yeah.
So, I'd spend my money elsewhere. And then I started doing sound speeds. And of course, now editing is crazy on this thing. You see how slow this thing is even to load up? And we'll see that all I did is I changed the color temperature to slightly more blue because these are kind of yellowish lights. Mm-hmm. And then I take the exposure down just a fraction. I bring up the clarity just a little bit. And then I don't really adjust anything else. I sharpen the edge just a little bit. And if I just add this minor amount of processing to it, I hit back. It's going to go back into my editing program. And then watch what happens now if I hit play.
Yikes.
Yeah, that PC had to go. Alan showed me so many things that he was dealing with and how frustrating it was working on that computer. I could feel the tension building. The time had come to unveil the curtain on what I was cooking. Alan was itching to see it. I was excited, but a little anxious if I'm being honest. This calls for some overly intense music.
Dude, those are my colors.
Are they? Okay, that.
Black is my favorite color, and red is like if you have to actually say color. Red is like, those are my colors, man. This is it.
So this is a pretty hefty beast. You gave me a budget of $700, and let's talk about some of the pieces and how much this really should have cost you.
Wow. Okay.
So this is a GTX 980. Even in today's dollars, this graphics card would cost you about 320 bucks. The processor up top right there, it's an i7 4770K. In fact, even this guy who I bought it from, he actually water cools the CPU. A lot of people like it. It's kind of an enthusiast thing to do. But basically, I took every single thing in here. I priced it out before I committed to buying it. And after it was all said and done, it should have been somewhere in the ballpark of $950 to $1,000. But when I hit buy,
that's today's prices, not like a couple years ago.
Today's prices,
yeah.
Yes. So yeah, if you bought this a few years ago, it would have been $1,500 to $2,000 for easy. I got this whole thing for $600 even. So with shipping and handling and everything,
wow,
$600.
That's awesome.
You're getting a really close.
That is really awesome.
Yeah. So we actually came in $100 under budget.
I never in a million years thought that we would go $100 under budget.
I kind of feel bad for that guy on eBay. He did not get a good deal.
Wow.
But I did do one thing that I had to give you a little bit of peace of mind. Actually, when I bought this computer, with the shipping, it was $540. So for $60, I added a warranty. So that.
Oh wow! Oh
so
cool.
You have 1 year.
Where'd you buy it from then to get a warranty on a used computer?
eBay.
eBay does that?
Yeah.
I almost never get warranties. I mean, I kind of feel most cases it's a waste of money. But in this case, I think it made sense. It's a used PC, number one, but a PC is a bunch of different parts made by different manufacturers, and any one of them could fail at any moment. And I just kind of felt that Alan needed that peace of mind.
It even looks cool. I mean, I honestly, in all honesty, I didn't know what to expect. I was sitting here thinking you were going to open it up and it's going to be like an HP Pavilion shell that somebody has souped up, and I'll be like looking at it and be like, that doesn't look impressive, but okay, you know. but this is like, this is actually like, this is me. This looks exactly like the kind of stuff I go for. That's awesome.
This is way overkill. This should be able to edit 4K. It'll definitely edit 1080p.
This new computer has changed my workflow. Let me tell you how. In the past with my old computer, I'd have to start it up, wait 15 minutes or so for it to fully come up. I could play back 1080p footage at maybe full res for 10 minutes or so. Forget about overlapping two videos, doing a crossfade, any kind of transition, doing picture-in-picture effects, anything like that. Now, let me tell you about the new computer. The new computer was able to basically play back any video footage format, even 4K, seamlessly. I can put graphics up there, and it might on 4K get a little stuttery, but then it smooths out after a couple of seconds. It figures it out. Now, for overlapping over two crossfades or transitions, seamless, no problem. It's like watching it just play back on the screen. Tell me that's a workflow change.
You might be thinking, like, what is here to learn? Like, you just got a sweet deal, man. Like, but here's what I learned is if you're patient and you're persistent, eventually you're going to find that perfect deal that meets your requirements within your budget.
You know, I really enjoyed this collaboration with Titus because in the past I've collaborated with other YouTubers like Podcastage, Booth Junkie, Mr. Red Dragon, but they've always been out of town, so I've never had that personal face-to-face interaction. Sure, I've gotten a chance to know them and talk to them and send them messages and whatever else, but it's always been either via Skype, Discord, Google Hangouts, or just sending footage, reviewing it, and get back to me. But Titus is a local, so I was able to meet with him, interact with him, chit-chat with him, and when it wasn't even related to this particular collaboration, we talked.
Okay, you might think it's, a little weird helping somebody that I barely know with this whole computer thing, but here's the thing. Alan is seriously like a really good guy. I mentioned that like some of the acoustics in my studio isn't the best, and he was like offering to give me like some panels that I could use, and I'm just like, man, you don't have to do that. Like, just a super awesome guy. Alan is definitely a pro, and after I got done showing him the computer that day, we started talking about microphones, and he just started pulling out the equipment that he uses on a lot of his shoots for like Hollywood and like TV shows and movies and all that stuff. And he has some of the coolest mics I have ever seen, way out of my price range, but seriously awesome. Alan knows his stuff. If you want to take your sound game to that next level, check him out at Sound Speeds. With that said, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and Alan, I hope you enjoy your new computer.
The search for awesome indeed, and I can tell you from having played with this computer quite a bit now, it is definitely awesome. It really has changed my workflow. None of the stuff I said in that video was a lie or stretched or anything like that. It was all true. And As a matter of fact, let me just show you some of what I dealt with before on the old computer and what the new computer is able to do. Just look at how slow and painful this editing process is. Now, in all fairness, on this Alienware i3, it was having to screen record at the same time as trying to edit. So granted, it did slow down just a little bit, but that is very much a representation of the kind of struggle I did have to deal with while creating SoundSpeeds episodes on that computer. On the new computer, even when I'm screen recording my computer monitor at 1920 by 1200, which is my resolution, it is still able to fully edit this video really fast. And I even threw some 4K video in there just to do it. For years, I've been recommending to people that want a good quality editing PC to get themselves a gaming computer, because the same specs that are important in an editing PC are also important in a gaming computer. And the only thing you really need to do is add on a couple of USB hard drives and you're ready to go. But for whatever reason, I did not take my own advice, and it took a pro like Titus, who actually specializes in his day job in computers, to remind me of this and to really kick my butt and make me upgrade. Just look at the data transfer rates between the old computer and the new computer. Looking at it right here, it's kind of surprising that the old computer was able to edit nonlinear 1080p videos at all. Now, I know some of you computer geeks out there may be cringing and say, "Are you kidding me? You really bought yourself an old computer to edit?" Why not? It's screamingly fast for everything I need it to be, so why not save a buck? Why do I need to buy a brand new $2,000-$3,000 computer just to edit a video when an older PC is doing awesome? So keep in mind what Titus says and what Titus showed you in this video, and if you need to get yourself an editing PC and 4K is not really something that you care about editing on just yet, then consider getting yourself an older PC, because it really does good. That is computer and sound advice. Have a question you'd like answered or want to add something? Be sure to write it in the comment section down below. You can also make a suggestion for future topics of discussion. Again, comment section down below, or you can email me at soundspeeds@yahoo.com. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss out on future sound advice.